With food security and agriculture high on the agenda, the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives is awaiting the green light from the World Bank to implement a one-year emergency action plan. The plan, titled the Food Security Enhancement Project, would include significant opportunities and support for stakeholders on the Sister Isles. Permanent Secretary Aaron Francois outlined the ways that Carriacou and Petite Martinique will be benefiting from this project.
We want to pilot using solar technology, solar energy, and we want to see how we want to provide an opportunity for storage, because a lot of the times we produce food and sometimes with the glut, a lot spoil. So we want to have some storage systems. We have identified Carriacou as being one of the beneficiaries, and I understand that you already have a facility on Carriacou. And we are going to work. We will be working with the farmers cooperative to make sure that that facility is established.
This affirmation of support also came from the Minister of Agriculture, Senator Adrian Thomas, who was accompanied by a technical team to the Sister Isle to consult with stakeholders there. This forms part of the transformational project that are expected to yield positive impacts on production and added benefits to farmers and agri-processors.
Agriculture is no longer, you cannot present it as cutlass and fork. While cutlass and fork is tradition and we must know how to use it, but we have to go a step higher. We have to go in areas in terms of modernizing agriculture. The modernized way of doing it, we have to, as a nation, we have to explore, because if we want to compete, we must be up and running.
Stakeholders had the opportunity to identify possible areas for improved support from the Ministry of Agriculture. Although the efforts of farmers, fishers and agro-processors in Carriacou and Petite Martinique were commended, several challenges needs to be addressed.
Seed bank, I would like to suggest a seed bank in the time of genetically modified seeds, and we're losing our indigenous species. Can we start up a seed bank where we have okra seeds and corn seeds and pea seeds and whatever it is? Because in a few years from now we may not be able to find our local breeds because everybody's genetically modifying everything.
The legislative reach for the NTF in terms of where the money is distributed, whether it can be put towards agricultural products, because when you go on their website you see, okay, the approved projects, everything is all infrastructure. I'm not saying we don't need buildings, I'm not saying we don't need this, that and the third, but we cannot eat money, we cannot eat corn.
That we have to look at some enabling legislation, whether it is external, the Ministry of External Affairs, the Ministry of Fisheries, and so forth, with St. Vincent, so that we will have some enabling legislation, not just for the management of the resource, but for the better collaboration between fishers here in PM and Carriacou and those in St. Vincent. We actually had an interesting discussion with folks from St. Vincent, and they are all for it.
Extensive support will also be provided for agro-processors through equipment and improving access to packaging materials, as well as facility upgrades for several agro-processors. Other components that Carriacou and Petite Martinique is expected to benefit from include the provision of planting materials, access to water, plowing services, labor and fertilizers. Chrislina John, GBN News.